on USA Network.
Really?
And
Okay.
I've watched Psych probably. I've seen the whole series probably 3 times.
Wow.
It's really, really good. Hello,
Okay.
Daryl.
Check it out.
And it's pure
Hello.
just,
Hello.
hey, how are you?
Oh,
It's
fine.
pure
Excuse me.
immature escapism, and I love it.
Hey, I wanted to congratulate you and thank you for, oh, we're live. Okay. But the job you did as an auctioneer at the Dream Factory Gala.
Oh, well,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Very
I appreciate that.
professional. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I'm off.
All right. See you guys later.
Hey, I'm Lyle Hammer. Have a good weekend. I'm so glad to see so many people here. We've got a lot of things to share with you, but we're going to start out with some inspiration. So Eric, take us away.
Thank you, Lyle. Good, Mike, what a crowd. Wow, there's a lot of people. I had no idea when I said I would do the inspiration, because there's many people. Thank you. If you're interested in doing this, by the way, please let me know. I have taken over chairmanship of the Inspiration Committee, and we'd be glad to have anyone who would like to do this. So let me know if you're interested. Let's do the pledge and the four-way test. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
I
for which
am
it stands,
addressing the
one
audio issue
nation,
right now, by
under
the way, with
God,
Dean.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Please be seated. I thought today, in contemplating inspiration, that since our speaker is a man who now has charge of multiple arenas, stadia, fields, and other facilities, that this might be an appropriate inspiration. This comes from a speech done by Theodore Roosevelt called Citizenship in a Republic, given on April 23rd, 1910, at the Sorbonne in France. And while the whole speech is not necessarily widely cited, there's a section of it that is. It's called The Man in the Arena. I'm going to read that to you now. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, but where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do these deeds? Who knows great enthusiasm, the great devotion, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails by daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory or defeat. Mr. Batt, dare greatly.
Thank you, Eric. Let us press on together. Hey, we've got a few announcements that I want to share with you quickly. We've got a lot of birthdays, so we share those each week with people. Just quickly, if your birthday is coming up this week, stand up as I call your name. Chris DeHoe, Garland Barr, Alicia Chapin, hey. Leah Anderson, Cassie Klein, and John Larson. And today's birthday, Virginia Carter. Hey. All right, how about that? And one more that I want to say is very special. Been working a long time. Mr. Frank Thompson. And Frank, come on, stand up. My tomorrow. It's that. He was my first boss right out of high school. I went to work for the city of Lexington Planning Commission, and he was my boss. Pretty cool. Franklin, great seeing club. And listen, you know what? You can leave checks donated on people's behalf. And someone has very generously donated a $90 check to the foundation for Franklin. So anybody else wants to make that happen? Let's go for it. All right. Another quick announcement. All right, we usually do a bourbon barrel each year, oftentimes to help our budget stuff. And Buffalo Trace has agreed to help us with that. And we're going to do a Buffalo barrel tasting today at 2:30 at Buffalo Trace. Kind of last minute. Some of the people who are gonna go can't go. If you'd like to join me today for a little bourbon this afternoon, sipping, we're gonna have fun. If you can just grab me after the meeting, love to have you tag along, especially if you've got a taste for bourbon, because we need some good people helping us select that. Now we've got the lottery, so, come on up here. At Gordon Patterson, we've got $500. Somebody won 1,000 last week and donated it to the, foundation, which is awesome. But let's see what we've got here. First ticket, the number is, I can't even see it, 0921. 0921 is the first one. Come on up, if you've got 0921.
Thank you.
Or 0933, second ticket, 0933.
Ace of clubs.
We're looking for an ace of clubs.
Come on, baby. Not much money, but you'll pay us on it. Oh.
Oh, but that means the pot keeps growing. Thank you, we appreciate it.
Oh, Mary, one of my favorite customers.
Steady
Ace
cutting.
of clubs. Ace of clubs. You got it. Oh. Right.
6 of hearts. All right, the pot will continue to grow. Good work. Half the money from this goes to the Rotary and half goes to the winner each time. So good work. Let's keep it rolling. We got a couple more announcements. This one's really important. You know, we do a lot of great work from Rotary. And so Kim Johnson and Brett Anderson are going to come forward and make a check presentation. Shall I say what it's for, or you want to save that to you all? Come on.
We're very, as you guys know, we had a very successful dancing with the Lexington Stars this year. And for the second year, we've been very excited that we were able to have as our featured beneficiary, Baby Health Services. So we would like Ann Phillips to come up as we present a check for $30,000 to Baby Health.
Her face is like all kinds of in the back there. Here's the side. Just put it that way. Yeah. So she's like, yeah, right. Whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, what a great organization. We're glad to be supporting that. This is one of the many things we do in Rotary, but let's keep it rolling, and a lot of good things going on in Rotary. And today, what a program we've got. I can't wait to share this. But let me introduce one of our longtime Rotarians, a past president of Lexington Rotary, Mr. Jim Host is going to introduce the program today. And my hand, just a few words. If for some reason you don't know about Jim Host, what a guy. He has, you know, he started Host Communications back in the early 70s, 30 years of success, not only building up things for University of Kentucky, building a system for UK, but building a system for schools all across the nation, have TV and radio and things that would help them build their organizations. In Lexington Rupp Arena, there's so many things that he's helped do. The Civic Center, many, many things. Let's give him a warm welcome to the. Phone call to him, boom. Man can make it happen. All right.
Fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to be here today. For that matter, it's a great pleasure for me to be anywhere today. This club holds a lot of memories for me. I was president in 79-80. David Blondell, who's here today, succeeded me. And the only one that's older than I am that is still around is Bob Millward, who is the oldest living president of this club. I'm sorry I don't have my badge today because I have no idea where the hell it is. I think the last time I was here, I took it away with me, and I can't find it. So I apologize for not wearing my badge today. We have a great program today. I want to set the ground rules for you. We have Tom Leach, the voice of the Wildcats, in his 29th year.
Wow.
29th year. And people said that nobody could ever succeed Kaywood. Well, he is.
Yeah.
And he is revered all across the Commonwealth. And our athletic director, our new athletic director is here. He's only been here about 4 or 5 days. So the ground rules are that Tom will do a question and answer with him. There will be no questions from the floor because there's no way he can know everything about everything having to do with things going on here. Jay Batt was a athlete at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and there's one thing that he is very clear on, that he agrees with me on, that the two of us despise Duke University. Jay Batt played soccer at North Carolina. He was a goalkeeper. One of the teams he was on won the national championship. He went on to become associate AD under Greg Vernon, who was here for a total of 6 years at the University of Alabama. He became the AD at Georgia Tech, became the AD of Michigan State, and he has a great pedigree and a great background and a great family. Tom Leach was one of 50 people that I interviewed when Kaywood put his tools down, and Ralph Hacker and I agreed that he would only be there for 3 or 4 years because his sight was beginning to fail him. So we had to find somebody that could succeed. And the one question that I asked Tom, are you committed to the University of Kentucky? Are you committed to stay here? You're not going to use this as a stepping tool. He said, Mr. Host, if you give me this job, I will be here the rest of my life. And he's from Paris, Kentucky. And I now introduce to you Tom Leach and Jay Batt.
Thank you, Jim. I have a few notes, simple notes that I look at before each broadcast. And right at the top of the list, there's some from him, from early critiques that still oblige to make sure you don't slip on some things. Like look at that before every game. Those from him, those from Kaywood, and a few others, but those were the best ones. And if you know Jim, you know he won't be shy about critiquing you if you so, especially related to the Wildcats. But the thing about it is his critiques are always good. Jay Batt, we're going to have our chat here, and for all the folks that are watching, we'll stay here so you guys can see it as well. First, the one question that I hear a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure you get it a lot, so we'll just tell these folks. Jay, the letter J, not J Y, letter J, your first name. So what's the story of that?
I've never heard that before. No, let me say, I'll answer that question, but I want to thank Jim for an incredibly warm welcome so far. I think everyone in this club already knows it, but Jim Host is a legend in our college athletics business, and it's an honor to be here at your university and to be on this team. So thank you for welcoming me in, and I think also, Bob, thanks for having me. It's really impressive, this club. I think Jim told me the 18th oldest in the country. It's awesome, man. So thank you for the day. And I'll have you know that man in the arena, I have on stretch canvas in my office. And so great quote today. And thank you for that. So Jay, the easy answer is I don't write so good. And so in 3rd grade, there were 3 Jasons, and a teacher gave me the opportunity to go to Jay. So we did that, shortened it up, and then somewhere along the way, there's got to be a journalism major that decided in some media guide that it should be Jay the letter, and thus here we are. So yeah, there's no traditional story, but that's it.
Fantastic turnout, by the way, thanks to everybody for coming out. I suspect you'll see a sold out crowd like this on September 5th. There is a lot, and you know this by now, if you didn't before, well, you probably did from your time in Alabama, tremendous passion and loyalty in this fan base. I can't imagine it's stronger anywhere else in the country. So how's that an asset for you? How do you go about channeling that passion and loyalty into what it takes to succeed in your job, this current climate of athletics, funding such a big part of it, et cetera?
Yeah, well, I think, I got a pretty good dose of it when I walked in my office the first day and I had a stack of mail this high. Yeah, I think it was because my email wasn't turned on yet, but I had a stack of mail of folks just welcoming me to, Big Blue Nation. And I've said a lot that, Big Blue Nation's the delta between, where college athletics is today and as it evolves, right? Structure, system, all that will change. It'll keep changing. But having an incredibly passionate fan base, that like we have here, that is the difference. That will be the differential between how do we continue to evolve. And, we talk a lot about revenue and why is that important? It's important because it ultimately feeds championships and opportunities. And we are in the opportunity business in college athletics. We give young people the opportunity to come to Lexington, to Kentucky, and fulfill their dreams, right? Win games, win in the classroom, win off the field, develop as young men and women. And at the end of the day, we can't do that without Big Blue Nation. And it is our differentiator, it's our separator. And yep, I've gotten plenty of inbound. I appreciate all of it. Some of it, I can't wait to start. I did mention to Jim, this is the best time of the year for this because we are undefeated. You've got any complaints? Thus far, we're undefeated. So
Fire up. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about football since it's coming up here soon, September 5th against Youngstown State. Fans saw what a program like Indiana was able to do the last couple of seasons, last year winning the national championship. What does that mean for other programs who are trying to make that climb up in challenging leagues? And what could that path look like for University of Kentucky?
Yeah, Indiana, obviously, incredible story, incredible kind of turn, right, from maybe one of the programs with the least amount of success to winning a national championship. I think what that says is that the opportunity in today's college athletics environment to be kind of upwardly nimble exists. Now, it takes a lot of alignment, a ton of commitment, and a lot of investment. And so, part of our goal is to build those things here at Kentucky, to give Coach Stein all of the resources necessary to build out that team and to win at that highest level. I think, I want to be really certain and direct that the expectation for Kentucky football is to win at a championship level. There is no reason and no excuses why we can't do that. And I'd say this, I wouldn't have come, and I know Coach Stein certainly would not be here getting ready for his first practice if he didn't believe passionately about that. And so, there is, whether it's Indiana's story or not, there is certainly a pathway to that championship success. It will continue to take new, different ways to think, new and different ways to drive revenue and ways to invest. And I think, in today's environment, there's a lot of, as we look at NIL, we look at what we call player management, there's a lot of opportunity to find value around that. And so if you look at the way Indiana was able to be successful, they outperformed resources. They really did. And ultimately, as you evaluate that market, we'll say that, there is a point at which the way in which you evaluate talent, the way in which you organize your player compensation structure and strategy, that adds a lot more value than just throwing dollars at it. And so I think you've seen Coach Stein already. He and his staff, they've recruited at an incredibly high level already. I think we're the only school, I believe, that's got top 10 transfer classes for men's basketball, women's basketball, and football. That's a top 10 transfer class. And I think, that shows that momentum is there and Coach is doing a great job with it.
I can't imagine this when it comes to news about the Wildcats, there's any fan base better than this one in terms of being well read about Wildcat news. So these folks are, NIL, they're reading now about the legislation that's being considered in Congress and may get to a vote, I guess would be soon, sometime this month before the recess. This SEC and Big Ten have signed on to support. What's your take on that area? What the path looks like moving forward, how it will impact what you do?
Yeah, so, I think at the end of the day, the most important part is it speaks to how important college athletics is and what an essential part of the US fabric college sports is. I certainly appreciate all of our senators that have dove in on this topic and spent an inordinate amount of time. That's a really high bar that it is taken this much time, energy, and effort around to the US Capitol. I would say there are a lot of really good parts to it. We have needed a national framework with state preemption to create a kind of a level playing field nationally, right? We need to codify the settlement, right? The House settlement, a lot of the rules and the structure around student athlete rev share and NIL needed to be codified at a national level. And I think, having a sustainable and firm marketplace that does increase the amount of compensation that student athletes are able to attain through revenue share and NIL is important. And there are aspects of that that are really, really good. What I would say is it is a huge step forward. And what I think, as we all know, as legislation moves through our nation's capital, it'll continue to evolve. And there's certainly parts of that need to happen and continue to happen as it goes. But it is a really, really good step in the right direction. Having structure, having sustainable structure that is, achieved in different ways as part of this legislation is important. We need antitrust, right, to be able to make rules to enforce the future of college athletics. And so it is a step forward. I would say that, part of it though, and in this room, I think it's really important to mention that in today's environment, the support of our corporate community through our JMI sports group, the way in which we interact with the corporate community and they are able to help support Kentucky athletics is really important. It's really important. So stepping forward, leaning in to that side of our business is really important. It provides our student athletes opportunity to go and use their name, image, and likeness. The great news is that we have a great team in place. Our sports group is tremendous, and they're great partners that provide great value for the businesses they interact with. And so if you're already supporting us that way, thank you. If you're not, we'd love to talk to you. We're locked the door on the way out. You can't. But it's an important part of what we do, and that helps us on a lot of ways.
Several programs are talking about what's been termed entertainment districts around athletic facilities. Kentucky was one of the first, I think, to toss that idea out. I know I'm sure you're not too deep into the weeds on that, just being here a short time, but what are your thoughts on what that could look like for fans and how can it help?
Yeah, it's I've participated in several of these entertainment district conversations. I've just gotten to your point, just kind of gotten a cursory overview of what we're looking at here on campus. The idea is to extend the game day experience, right? To provide more and different ways for our fan base to come into Lexington, interact, even on a daily basis. And so, I don't want to get ahead of the work that'll be there, but everything from how do we provide additional places to stay, things that we can activate on game days, to opportunities to activate above and beyond that. And I think one of the most important parts is to celebrate what makes us special and celebrate what makes Kentucky athletics special. And so, not to kind of go much further than that, but it's a really important evolution that as we look at how do we drive new and additional revenue, one of those ways to do it is to create opportunities beyond just game day and extend game day into a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday conversation than just a Saturday.
You, as Jim mentioned, were at Alabama for several years, so the lay of the land of the Southeastern Conference. You were at Georgia Tech for 3 years, Michigan State for 1 year before taking the call to come here. Do you see yourself being here a long time?
Absolutely, 100%. I'll say this: the University of Kentucky has been on our list, my wife and I, for a long time. This has been something we've had circled, and frankly, we're really lucky that Mitch Barnhart has been here for as long as he was, and so this never opened. This was never an opportunity, but when this opened, and we went through the circumstances at Michigan State, this was an absolute immediate yes for us. I'll tell you that my wife has said, and I think I've said this before, my children are finishing high school in Lexington. That's at least a decade. Now, I'm going to wait till the ride home when Jim Host puts it to me, and I got to sign up for 29 years. But, no, I think, yes, we are absolutely in this for the long run. Ecstatic to be here, ecstatic to be a part of this great tradition, and, plan to be here for a very long time.
Is that okay to, you had that, thought, that feeling?
You know, I think part of it, two things. One, we already talked about, that's Big Blue Nation, right? That's a huge asset. And so when you look at an opportunity, you say, hey, what are the things that will separate this empire? One of them is our fan base. It's incredible. Two would be our history of championship excellence, right? And I think you guys have certainly, as you mentioned, fairly well read on this, but you know, all of the championship success we've had across the athletic department, whether it's volleyball and rifle and women's basketball, men's basketball, football success historically, it's all there, right? And so to continue to build off of that, I think it's really important to say that a lot of the things that we've talked about or we're talking about with Champions Blue and changing structure and driving revenue, all that is stepped upon all of our traditional and historic success we've had in the last 25. And the third thing I think would be an appetite for change. I think part of what is needed in college athletics today is to look at the structure that we need to use, the focus we need to have on revenue in a different way. And so Kentucky's already done a lot of the hard work, right? We've already established the Champions Blue LLC Corporation, right? I think, you know, that's a reflection of a lot of different change in college athletics and will be the standard in college athletics. I think you will see there are probably a half dozen of these set up today. I can tell you there are dozens that will continue over the next several years to develop and happen.
I would think it's an exciting time in some ways to be in this space because, a lot of the ground's not plowed, so there's never been a better time to think outside the box and be a little creative in pitching your idea, whoever you are.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, as you look at, you know, we say change is constant, right? I think what's been challenging in college athletics in the last 5 years is the pace of change. Right? We're not talking about rulemaking that changes in a year or 5 years, which, you know, traditionally has been the NCAA's way. We're really on the fly, on the go, whether it's a court case like the one that happened last Friday night, where all of a sudden some of the 5 for 5 legislation that recently passed around student athlete eligibility, you know, that changed in an overnight. You know, what I know is that a well-resourced, aligned University of Kentucky athletics program will be in the driver's seat in the future and continue to have broad-based success. And so as we look at that, and we look at the change structure, building that well-resourced, well-aligned, nimble structure, regardless of what the changes are, will put us in a position ahead of many of them.
Are there people that have been on your team or the team you've been a part of at previous stops that you can see coming to help you out here?
You know, I think week one changed. What I'll say is the most important thing for me right now is to learn the University of Kentucky, is to learn the people that have made this great. This is Kentucky. We have a great athletic department, so we have a great team on the ground. So I'm taking time to meet with everybody in our staff possible, all of our leaders, all of our head coaches, and gonna learn first. And then, you know, as transitions happen, which I'm sure they will at some point in time, we'll plug holes and certainly have a network from 25 years of working in college athletics of folks that will want to work here. I think that's one of the most important parts, whether it's the strength of our brand, the strength of our city. Lexington's a tremendous place. It's the reason it's been circled for us for a long time, one of them. And I think this, you know, kind of forward-thinking mindset we have here, this will, you know, as this develops, if we need to supplement our team here, there'll be people that want to be.
Your title is CEO of Champions Blue LLC and Athletics. So what's that structure? How is it different maybe from what it's been in the past? How do you see it play out?
Yeah, I think it's the same and really different. It's the same in that it doesn't change the fact that we're aligned under the President Capilouto and his leadership, whether that's as the president or as the chair of the Champions Blue board, right? And so institutional alignment remains paramount. The fact that we are every day in the student athlete sports winning business, that doesn't change. But it does belie the fact that as college athletics evolves and the size, scope, scale of college athletics has evolved, the need for business acumen, the need for fiscal discipline, the need for the skill set that maybe many of you, entertain to run your businesses every day is required. And I think that is probably the most important part. That as we endeavor to take the next steps with Champions Blue, the CEO title really says that the business side of college athletics will continue to be more and more important, ultimately for the same reason it always has, and that we're looking to drive and win championships and help young people achieve their dreams. But perhaps more is required in that space today than maybe it has been in the past.
Because of how the business side is changing in the college sports, does that speed up an AD's evaluation process when you are looking at the coaches of your team you're representing?
I'm not sure it speeds it up. There's been a lot made about the kind of short window on coaching changes and hires and those sorts of things. Ultimately, the standard for coaching decision-making is what's in the best long-term kind of interest of the program. And that has always been the standard for me of what are we looking at in the long-term interest of the program. And so that doesn't necessarily change. Now, certainly the attention the Southeastern Conference paid to college athletics, right? Better than anyone else in the country. You were to look at how our games perform nationally, media-wise, outperform anyone else in the country. And so that certainly shines a brighter light on it and increases attention, but it's always about what's in the best long-term interest.
When you're trying to find that next superstar coach for any sport, beyond wins and losses, what are the other things that you look at?
I think the first thing is certainly they wouldn't be in your pool. You wouldn't even be looking at them if they weren't winners, right? If they didn't have success in all the places they had been, a history and a brand of winning. That's the base. I think the two most important things in today's environment for college athletics, as you evaluate coaching hires, the first is fit. They have to fit in your place. They have to fit immediately in your place. If we were to welcome new coaches into University of Kentucky, it'd be really important that they would plug into our community with our student athletes, they plug in with our university in an important way. The second part, I think that has probably evolved or at least risen up the list of a quotient that's important is what I call authentic leadership. Authentic leadership. Coaches that are comfortable in their own skin, they are comfortable who they are, and they are not somebody that's going to try to be something that they are not. And the reason behind that is that with the advent of the transfer portal and how that has changed college athletics, our coaches have to develop immediate connection with our student athletes, potential and current, on a real-time, all-the-time basis. And so recruiting used to be isolated to times of the year. Used to be isolated to, hey, this weekend in, whatever, in the fall. That is not the case anymore. It is an all-the-time thing. And so our coaches, once you bring into the program, have to be authentic leaders that can lead and connect with young people right away.
Thank you for your time. It's been interesting. I'm guessing we don't have any social media influencers in this group, but I guarantee you we have influencers in this community.
Yeah.
Whether it's at breakfast at Wheeler's or something else. So anything you want to say to them before we close it out?
I'll take an omelet. Oh, hold on one second.
I want to say one thing, that all of you need to really focus on for this fall. This volleyball team may be one of the greatest volleyball teams ever structured in the history of college volleyball. And if any of you haven't got tickets yet, you should. That's number one. Number two is our women's basketball team has got a real chance to be a Final Four contributor this year because of the recruiting that Kenny Brooks did. Number three, Nick Pingione did a great job with transfer portal. He's got one of the top 10 transfer portal teams in terms of baseball. Because we all care about football and we all care about men's basketball, but those are three sports to keep your eye on, especially the volleyball program this fall. This volleyball team, in fact, the recruit he got from Notre Dame is the real deal. He's got four of the starters back, plus probably the best hitter in the United States in terms of Notre Dame Galaxy, 6'6". And she is dominant and she is really something else. I just happen to be a great volleyball fan. But obviously I'm a lifelong baseball fan, but I just wanted to make sure all of you understood how good these sports are and can be this fall. So it's more than men's basketball, more than football. Now, at the end of the day, all anybody around here cares about is men's basketball. So men's basketball, Mark has done a great job in terms of his transfer portal.
Yep.
He's done a great job in terms of his freshman recruits. He's got 14 people and maybe the 15th coming. He's gonna have, I think he's gonna have a great team as well. From all of us here, I wanna say thanks to you for taking your time and just coming here after having only been here since last Friday, to be here today to speak to us. This is his first public appearance. So I wanna say thank you to you.
Sure.
Any closing business?
First, thank you, Jim, and I appreciate you having me. Thank you to the group for having me down. I'll tell you this, if you come to those volleyball matches, be prepared to look up when you meet the student athletes. They are, really impressive. No, I'll echo what Jim said. We have tremendous student athletes across all of our sports. But they need you to be there. They need you to support them. They need you to engage. They need you to drive your, ways in which you can work with our marketing arm to help them. So we appreciate you for all you've done, for everything you will do. My ask, and I'm going to hit you with an ask because I'd be a bad fundraiser if I didn't, is to do one more thing. This is what I always ask groups to do, which is to Jim's point, which is if you've been to 0 sporting events, go to 1. If you've been to 1 volleyball match, go to 2. If you have season tickets, get a second one. Okay? If you have 1 flag hanging in your house, hang 2. Okay? And if you sponsor several scholarships, do 1 more, please. But in all sincerity, we need you guys to keep stepping up. This community matters a ton to us. Can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of it. Glad to be here. Go guys.
Gotta open this just for a minute, so you can see how everybody else can too. When the president was here, we talked about all that goes on in UK and what it means to our community. So the sport's fantastic. It brings so much good credit to our community, but we got people in this room that are doing legal, doing literature, doing publications, so many things to support the University of Kentucky. By the way, we got a couple of people that have volleyball, regular season tickets in here. That is a blast. I've got one of my employees, her daughter was the what do you call it? The setter, yeah. For 4 years, what a lot of fun. So let's keep supporting them. Take a look out this window. I love coming in here each week and seeing. Now, if you all clean out here, there are as many as 8 cranes out there. I haven't checked today, but there are all that time. That's construction going on in UK. That's stuff that's being invested in our community to make our community stronger, make our university stronger. But think of all the jobs that are provided by all this stuff that goes on out there. So we appreciate UK. Any comments from out there? Questions or anything? Y'all okay with the little stuff? All right.
That's against the rules.
What's that?
That's against the rules.
All right. Let's give them a big warm welcome. Almost every Thursday, and we'd be glad to have you join us anytime. Thanks very much. We support you every week. All right, appreciate it. Thank you all for being here. Hang in there. Good to have you. All right.